settlement table, I was excited as shit. I was bubbling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was getting the check. Somebody was getting the house. I was like, yo, I love this. This is so much fun. And I'm bubbling. I'm bubbling now. From this point, I'm bubbling to get to settlement. It's like a drug.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a deal with this old black guy. And here I come, bubbling to get into the settlement table. And he looked at me and with one sentence deflated all my excitement. He said, oh, this must be your first settlement. And I was like, what do you mean this is my...
You said absolutely.
No, it wasn't. But he said it to me in such a way like...
You'll lose that excitement.
Right. Like this old black man really deflated my excitement about settlements. And then I didn't have the excitement anymore. Then it just became methodical. And then I was just like, all right, okay, let's go get this check. Yeah. You know, how you guys doing? We already jumped into this conversation. Welcome to Building Brilliance Book Club. I'm your host, Brian Wilson.
I'm Javada Hill.
And we are discussing the latest book that we are reading, Drive, the surprising truth about what motivates us by Daniel H. Pink. We've already in this conversation, so you guys are coming in where we already were with this conversation about drive and the true essence of motivation. So Javada, I wanna go to you because I'm interested in your thoughts as always.
Yes.
And your input on what you thought about this book.
So initially starting off, the operating system is the first chapter, and I looked at my phone and I was like, do I need to update my operating system? Because we all got operating systems, invisible instructions and protocols on which everything runs. Mm-hmm. Like the context, the little thoughts kind of back there that you don't see, but you know that they are organizing everything.
My bad.
You're right. They organizing everything. A change in motivation is a change in mind. Process fundamental change because the mind is fundamental. So you were just saying how, yes, we love the checks and everything, but then it's like, oh, it brought me back to family and how you use the money to get back to family. I like how he went from if then to now that, like, if I work, then I'll get the money. And it's like, I don't even want to work, you know, like, but I still want the money.
Yeah, but I still want the money. But is this it?
Is this it?
You know what I felt like? I went back to Who Moved My Cheese, and I felt like a rat.
Yeah. You're
Chasing
right.
cheese.
Yeah, you're right. And I can resonate with, like, this your first settlement. And then I was like, how do you still maintain, like I chat GBT, how do you still have fun in real estate? They gave me like wonky suggestions, like spice up your open house, pumpkin parent. Like I was like, that is not enough. But
they gave you the Pam Rosa Thistle suggestions.
Yeah,
right?
like it's just like that is just not what I'm
love
looking
you,
for.
Pam.
Right. So what's their maybe like if it was like an extraordinary check, like something that is out of the ordinary, I think will spice the life up. But then you get the check, you pay the bills, you allocate the money, you're back down again.
You back down again. So that can't be it.
So then it's like, what do you strive for? You said family, but what if people don't have family? You know, everyone has a family.
Has a family, but
then
you know,
what's your
why?
Yeah.
Role and dynamic in it might be different.
Yeah.
Right.
Then what's your, like, shift your why? Why am I doing this? And I do love, like, book club and reading. Like, I feel like I've found just joy inside of, what are we reading next? Oh, okay, how does this book relate to this book? And, oh, I saw this in another book.
Right.
You know, and that to me, and then I'd be like, oh, you ain't working. Well, of course, sort of, I'm working,
yes.
you know, but it's like, oh,
yes.
you're not working. Like, how? I gotta balance the equation? Like,
Well, work has been repurposed.
it's supposed to be play.
Is play? Yes.
That's what he said. You're supposed to work and play. You're supposed to like balance it out. The FedEx method. Do something different. Like, and we do that when we go to other Rosemont sales meeting.
Offices,
like when we like switch it up. Like that was an example of his FedEx method, letting people do what they wanted to do, like creating autonomy inside of that. We definitely have created mastery inside of these conversations and like extending ourselves. And then the last one was purpose, which is great because that's where our conversation is. Because if it ain't the money is just a resource. It's supposed to be like, well, what are you going to do with the money?
Real purpose?
Yeah, I'm going to put my kids through college. Yeah, I'm going to take a trip. So living, like, I guess inside of that fulfillment is what he wanted us to see, like what's driving us. So we are all doing that. It's just sometimes it's like, I don't know.
He asked the question in there that I didn't want to ask yet, but you brought it up. When he said, give one sentence that defines your life.
Curious. Curious?
One
sentence.
Yeah.
One sentence. I thought it was a possibility. I'm going to use a framework. Who I am is a possibility of being authoritative, curious, and progressive.
Okay. Authoritative, curious, and progressive. I came back with The Entertaining Life of Brian.
It's a statement.
Okay. Yes.
It's a sentence too.
It's a sentence also.
Yeah.
But I've always been on stage. In my mind, I've always been on stage.
But that goes back to the performance. So you're always performing.
Yes. I've always been on stage performer. Even from a kid, I told you the stories about how I used to entertain my mother.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been that. Ta-da! Every time I walk in the room, I expect to hear a round of applause. That's just how I've always seen it.
Do you think that you have to perform in order to receive love or attention?
Reverse. I think the better my performance, the more I'm exuding love. So it's not a quest to receive. It's innately who I am. So no matter what the realm, what the situation, I don't have an expectation that I'm going to receive. It's not an if then for me. It's this is who I am. So I bring it either 100% or I don't bring it at all. I'm a magnet. I tell you this, I had this feeling when I go into supermarkets that people just gyrate to me, and I can't explain to you how often that craziness happens. That every time I go in the supermarket, if I stop anywhere for 30 seconds or longer, it don't even have to be 30 seconds. Like 4 people will gyrate around me. I just feel like I have this energy. So no matter where I am, the world is a stage for me, and I'm on. No matter where I walk into, it's like I just hear this, ta-da, and I'm here, and I crack myself up with it, because I walk into a room and I look around and I'm like, who's paying attention, who's watching, where is my attention focused on? My daughter and I do this crazy thing where every time when we go to Wawa, every time we get up to the cashier's register, we have this quarrelsome bicker at the cashier, like who's gonna pay. I ask her if she wants some cigarettes, little stupid stuff. But we always keep everybody laughing. The cashier laughs. Somebody behind us is cracking up because they're listening to our conversation. Wherever we go, we do this. When Christmas is coming, so Christmas we take the family out. and we do a shopping spree. It's not a full spree, it's just a spree. And to watch my grandchildren run around and try on different clothes and perform is hilarious to me, and everybody's like, oh, look at her, she's trying on all these different clothes and outfits, she's running around with all these different clothes and outfits. So it's always been ta-da, which is in my mind, my grand purpose. He talked about the 3 elements of motivation: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And we jumped around a little bit. He said autonomy was the freedom to make choices. Mastery was becoming better at something that matters to you. And purpose, your work contributes to the greater cause or vision. I think about why I became a real estate agent. I think about that often, how I got into real estate. And the first slogan I ever said was, everybody needs a roof over their head. And it was drawn out of a fact that we move so much. As a kid, I had a new address, like within every 5 years, I had a new address. And I was like, where's our permanent roof? Where are we gonna stay? Because I just thought every place that we lived was temporary,
Mm-hmm.
So when I became a real estate agent, my motto was, everybody needs a roof over their head. So that became my driving motivator, was to get any client I ever dealt with, buyer client obviously, they needed a roof over their head. How do I get them to get to a roof over their head, And then at that point, the purpose that drove me was the excitement of giving them the keys. So that was the motivation. Like, we gotta get you these keys. 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 We gotta find you a new home. That was everything. That was for somebody else. That was my excitement for somebody else. Even now, when I go back and I see past clients, and we discuss the whole process, everything they went through, finding the house, the changes that they've made, the life events that have happened to them since they've been in the house, everything that developed afterwards, to me was my purpose. But this book made me repurpose my purpose, refocus my purpose, rethink my purpose of what was driving me, what was moving me. And it all went back to the entertainer, Brian, These are the things, it felt like it was ego driven a little bit. The more I even verbalize it, it sounds more ego driven than anything else. But it's the thing that gets me out of bed every morning, It's the reason I just don't lay there going, wowsy, wowsy, woo, woo. The sky is falling, It's like, I gotta put on the Brian show, Book club brought all of that out, being able to have this audience and this venue and to sharpen and polish up, my purpose and intent, really focus on it. So it's been a very cathartic journey for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had so many notes from this, and I didn't think I was gonna have as many notes.
Yeah.
As I generated from it.
We'll share some of your notes.
I'm scared. No, it's not scared. It's
Let's let it
just
rip.
going through just kind of understanding where my purpose was. Where's my purpose? I had my notes.
It was like a leader. You got it from like.
I know, and it went into this whole thing about he rambled a lot. Okay, I'm sorry, dude. You did a lot of rambling, and I appreciate the rambling because it made me think and listen. I'm trying to bring up the
Notes.
last document that I had because it closed on me for some reason.
Right. I'll go.
Go, please.
Nihai Mishiktia, Flow. He talked about him and Flow. He's like, I like that some of his people that he had, you know, like we read some of these books and they just be all like example.
After chapter 2, I was done.
Example.
Yes.
But I do like Nihai, and he talked about Seth Godin, who we read the marketing book. This is marketing.
Yes.
A thing that I got is like, I think inside of the conversation of mastery, if I gotta motivate you, then I probably won't hire you. It was like an excerpt, and I resonated with that, like being a team leader, and like I'm not here to motivate you. You know, I'm not supposed to wake up and tell you what to do every single day. Like we all self-employed. Like
right. You got to get up and lace up your boots. Yeah. Put on your big boy britches or whatever.
I like how they went from like type A to type B, like and type B. It's not like they're not achieving the same amount, but they're calmer inside of the process. I thought of, they said type A, like sometimes you can be hurried and I gotta get it done. And then type B, you still get it done, but you're kind of like chill about it. So I like how he like.
So in that, I looked at it from 2 different perspectives. I looked at it from 3 different perspectives. I looked at it as self-motivation, but then I also looked at it from a perspective of client motivation and then agent motivation. Like, how do we trigger the motivation of agents to show our listings?
I don't think, all right, so before I arrive to the answer, I don't think it's just the onus on the agent. What about the property itself?
Okay. And the only reason I got there,
the agent, because they need a buyer. Maybe they're not showing it because they don't have a buyer for the house.
I'm not focused on that. I'm looking at, because with these new changes, the new NAR change settlements, how do we now incentivize? Because it's not just commission now. It's not just 2% versus 3%. There's other things that we need to do to incentivize the agent to bring the buyer. Are we offering a seller's? Is the seller willing to offer a seller's assist? What does the house look like? Is the seller willing to offer a home warranty shield? Can the house be ready within 30 to 60 days? What driving factors can we add, or can we enlighten our sellers about to motivate the buyer agent? And then how can we ignite that same passion within our clients? Like some clients you walk into and the first thing you gotta tell them to do is declutter, and half of them don't want to hear that because they already know it. So now how do you say, I want to get you the most value for your money, but you need to clean this shit up? Without saying, you need to clean this shit up. Like, you want to inspire somebody to do something that they've never done before because, they're basically rocks just sitting there waiting for somebody to kick them into movement and create that motivation and drive. Ignite that motivation and drive. How do we do that? It's a different topic. It's a different conversation now.
I'm like, okay, why? Get to their why. Like, get to the root of their why. Sometimes it's like using the example that was given. Oh, I want to get you the highest amount of money, but you got to clean out this house. Maybe they don't really need the money, so they're not going to be motivated by that. So they're not going to clean the house because they chilling. They don't need to do anything anyway.
Right.
So then I'm saying, if it's not the money, then find out
what the why is.
Yeah, and then do I really want to do that? Not that much digging. Like, everyone's valuable, but if you're not motivated, why do I want to motivate you?
Why are you there in the first place?
Yeah.
I go back to that. Why did you call me?
They probably, I don't know. Like,
how did I get here?
I'm speculating on why somebody could call me, because their why and my why could be two totally different things.
But that is some excavation on our part. This job is more than just the sticks and bricks. I said it before. There's a psychological aspect of real estate, of being a real estate agent, that most agents don't want to delve into, but we have to. You know, we have to.
And then I look at myself as, why did I attract that person that was kind of not motivated? Or whatever, like, you know, we do attract a certain, not every listening appointment you're going to go on, you're going to get, like, that's okay. That we're including that statistic inside of our entire analysis. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to go in there and think I'm going to get every deal. That's okay. And, like, how did I attract that person? Like, what about me got you?
Drew them to you.
Yeah, and like, do I need to shift something in myself because I want a certain clientele and I want to be the reflection of a certain clientele? How come I got you? Mm-hmm. And you are not terrible. It's just
your motivation is like a rock.
Yeah.
How do I what's that, inertia? How do I make you move?
Yeah, Luton's an object in motion stays in motion. An object of rest stays at rest unless acted upon an external force.
Yes, there's some kind of external force.
I don't know what your external force is, and sometimes it's not money.
Well, it might
not
be
health. It might
not be receiving money, but it might be externally. Like, I've gotten a lot of calls from people because they got the reassessment bills, mm-hmm. and they look at their taxes and go, "I'm not paying this. Get rid of the house if I don't need it." Those are a lot of the calls that I've gotten over the last couple of months.
But the reassessment bill is just the tip of the iceberg. You've already been thinking about getting rid of that house, and then it's like, here's a reason.
Here's another reason.
Here's another. I'm going to just go. But you've been brooding this for a minute, and then you needed an external force and be like, yup, now I'm taking action. Or people that's overweight, you go to the doctor and they say, if you don't lose weight, you're going to have a heart attack. Now you go to the gym.
Yes, and now you start something.
Now,
that was the external
force. But it was more life. It was like, because they wanted life, they wanted freedom. It wasn't no money. You about to die if you don't take care of yourself, and you eating.
And there goes the external factor to find that motivation. So the book made me look at drive and motivation from several different perspectives. Understanding the three elements from several different perspectives. From me internally, my work, my clients, both buyer and seller, and the agents that I do business with, the agents on the other side of the deal. Just evaluating them almost like a scientist. You know, now I'm looking at all of them, the whole ball of wax, as a scientific experiment. Like, I'm looking at everybody like, who moved the cheese? And now I'm the conductor moving the cheese to motivate people to do things. My client that I'm trying to sell his house, and it is unearthing the things that have taken place with the sale of this one particular house have been extremely enlightening. And I got down to, I boiled it down, I believe, to the root cause of the delays of him selling this house. And it's the house that he had for his son, and his son died. So even getting him to clean out his son's room has been, like, he won't even go, I haven't seen him go in his room yet. I haven't seen him touch anything in his room. He's going to all these other rooms. He's working on the backyard and the back wall. But I'm like, we got to get in this room. I have somebody to take the bed. He was like, that's the bed I bought for my son. And I'm like, got it. I see what is holding you up, what has been the procrastinating force. the wall that's prevented you from moving forward. Now, how do I get him to move forward with that? I haven't figured that part out yet. But the fact that I've been able to actually unearth that through a series of questions, and just spending time with this guy and listening to him, like really, really listening to him without objection, without, come on, man, we got to get this deal to the settlement table.
He died 25 years ago. You still there?
Right.
Compassion,
Right.
empathy.
Yes. All of those characters that I have to bring forth and conjure to aid him through this process, because this has been work for him. Even clients that, you're selling mommy's house and mommy died, 3 years ago or 5 years ago.
And none of the siblings help.
And none of the siblings want to help.
Yep. Heard it all before.
We've been there. You know what I mean?
Those are like repetitive stories. Like, it's such a pattern when, like, it's the parents' house and then it's one. Yeah, you got the administrator, but then the administrator feels like, oh, y'all not even helping me.
I'm doing all the work.
Right. It's like over and, like, now I'm not saying it's like for everybody. Like, we're scientists, like, but it is skewed.
Yes.
When that happened, and it's such like, you can see like the patterns and stuff like, sure, I got compassion, you can't let go. Holding on to that is also doing something to you emotionally, and sometimes you can't see the battle. He said the operating systems are invisible. Mm-hmm. Like, he might not even be able to see the battles, and then sometimes therapy is not, you might have did therapy, but like, is it truly access to everybody, or are you even looking to do the work? Like, sure, there's books out there to not get over grief, but like to deal with it. But are you seeking that help, or are you depending on me to do that, or are you seeking?
Some people need it and won't seek it. Some people need it, don't even know that they need it.
And we're not blaming or putting fault. We're just making a statement.
I mean, you really, I guess, come down to this mindset that people are hurting, and a part of that healing through the hurting is attentive ear, just somebody to listen to them. You might not be able to do anything at all, but if you are actively listening and they feel like you're actively listening, it's helping them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, I think, is the biggest value that I can bring. Calm myself, self-control, and then turn on active listening. I used to call it my woman ears. So I could.
We can't say that now and nowadays.
I can't say that. I can't say that today.
He, them.
Oh, sorry.
They, them.
Oh,
you come
sorry,
on.
my bad.
Now my ears is just they woman ears. They come on.
Well, you know why I called them that?
I know why you call, because women are supposed to be great listeners, but men are great listeners too. In the time and age, we got binary bathrooms, and you still talking about woman ears?
Well, not just because I considered women better listeners. It's that I, as a man, was a poor listener. So I needed to listen from a different perspective.
But not all men are poor listeners.
I mean, I was only talking about me.
Yeah.
I can only look at what I can control, which is me.
I'm being facetious, but you get it.
Yeah, I do. I really do understand. But I needed to change something within myself. So when
motivation,
that was like the icon.
Yeah.
That was like the icon for me to say, okay, let's have a switch, and let's tune in. Let's actively tune in, and let's actively listen. Like, really just shut yourself down and be present. So that was the icon for me, to put myself in a more attentive mindset.
So good. That's exactly where you need to be, though. I feel like that's exactly where you need to be all day long.
So, how can you? So that brings me to this other question: how can you tap into your clients' intrinsic motivations to inspire rather than coerce?
I don't coerce nobody. So totally inspire them. How can I tap into them? I listen to what they're motivated by and just hold it. And sometimes I think it's like fear, like, oh, I gotta make a move because the interest rate is gonna go up. So okay, then take action now or later because you don't know if they're gonna go up or down anyway. So if you can maybe use fear.
That's a very fine line for us, I think.
The interest rate conversation?
Well, no, not just the interest rate conversation, but motivation over coercion.
Well, coercion is what? Like, is with, and I'm making you do something. Like, I'm like, not making you, but like.
Like generating the fear, like stirring the fear, making the fear more obvious. If you don't do this, you're going to lose that.
If then.
Right.
Now that. He said, now that. Cool. So now, he's having us shift from if then to now that. So, and right, then so to aspire, I think it's the whole question is a little tippy toe. Because people could be inspired by fear. Like the earlier with you overweight and the doctor said you're going to have a heart attack, you might die, you might be afraid of dying, so you're going to lose weight. I'm not coercing you because it's just the what so. Maybe I'm inspiring you to lose weight because of the fear of dying or don't do nothing.
I kind of had to use that now then scenario with my same client. So we were supposed to settle on this house like 2 weeks ago, and it hasn't settled yet. And it hasn't settled because one of the things that they're asking us for is a roof certification. And in order to get a roof certification, the roof needs work. It needs $4,000 worth of work, and nobody is putting up the money to get the roof cert done. So originally my conversation would have been, if we don't get this done, you're not going to settle. Now my conversation is, now that we've decided not to address the roof, then what does that mean now? You know? And then how do we move forward to get to the next, to get to this household? How do we do that? So now we
hired you.
Right, we came up with another game plan. Clean the house up, get everything out. We'll take fresh new pictures, and then we'll reprice the house and put it back on the market. We'll get the roof cleaned up, just clean the debris off the roof because it's just a lot of debris and stuff on the roof. Clean the debris off the roof and clean the house up, and then we'll relist it for a higher price. He was like, okay. I think that took a lot of pressure off of him because in that same conversation, we talked about that room that he hasn't addressed yet, you know, and the issue surrounding it. I let him talk. I let him air. I let him vent. He's been venting to me since I met him, you know, and I have been a sounding board for him to vent, you know, unjudgmental, without anger, without this, here he goes again. You know, I didn't go to any of that, you know. I kind of stood there. I stopped everything that I was doing, and I focused on him. And I let him say and spew whatever it is he needed to get off of his chest because he needed somebody to say it to. This is a single guy. He only has his daughter left, and his daughter doesn't even live with him now. His son is gone. He's out. He's on the outs with his family. You know, it's just, he doesn't have anybody. Mm-hmm. I'm his person now, you know, mm-hmm. And I've gladly accepted that role, even though it's not my role nor my responsibility, you know. But I keep saying real estate is more than just sticks and bricks. You know, it's the personal connections that we're forced to make to understand how to help people move from a stuck position to an unstuck position. How to help them institute life-changing events, because this is a life-changing process. You know, it's not just sell my house and I'm out. You know, it's like sell my house and then where do you go to next? And then packing up and then unpacking years of, oh, I remember this little fur ball from my baby, or I remember this little cat toy that the cat used to play with, or I was watching Blackish, and this was the episode where they were arguing, the husband and wife were arguing while they were doing the kitchen renovations, and the contractors were coming in tearing out the old kitchen, and one of the cabinets had a picture of Jack's baby footprint on it, and they saw it and they immediately stopped arguing. And it was that picture, the vision of the baby footprint immediately brought them back to a particular time, a happy, eventful time in the house for them,
Psycho-cybernetics.
Psycho-cybernetics, baby. But I look to recreate those things, that joy within my clients to help them propel and move forward. Look at how you felt then. Think about what the future holds for you from that perspective.
Freedom.
Yeah. We do a lot here. We do a lot. I'm telling you, real estate should come with a psychology degree. I think we should probably have a psychology class attached to this business, because it's just not about.
We gotta make sure that we're straight so we can help the people.
Yeah, you think we need like a therapist in the office?
Mm-hmm.
We probably should have a therapist in the real estate office. How can you develop a creative environment organically within your presentations? I dug for that one. I dug for that question.
So, I get it. I'm going to say culture is the way, but when I came in here, I know it's the question, I don't know anything. The question appears to seem more towards you and your client. But I'm opening it up to say, like, in your office space, like decorating your office and stuff like that, so when people come in here, you can have like a buyer consultation in your office. It's magical, not just with the holiday stuff and stuff what's going on here, but having that presence when they come into the office, it feels a certain type of way. How can we create a presentation that is magical? I think in our marketing, like when I get the binders and I take them and I print and I present my, comps and stuff, I'm thankful that we have nice binders that I take with me to give over to them. I think that's a part of the presentation, and I value that. Like, our stuff is like nice.
Yes.
Okay, I'm happy about that.
I like that.
And inside of my presentation, I go for the heart, and I acknowledge them. I ask them what they want to be acknowledged for. And they tell me whatever. Like, sometimes clients want to be acknowledged that somebody died and it took them some time to sell, and they want to be seen for the work that they did in overcoming that. So I shine a light on them, and I think that that's a part of the intrinsic presentation, to show appreciation or just to shine a light on people in areas where they feel like they're doing something, but it went unnoticed, and you taking that for granted. And I'm like, no, like, I know that took something, like,
yes.
And I just want to shine a light on you real quick, because I know it took something to get over whatever conversation that was looping back there, and you was like, cancel that, I'm upgrading my operating system.
Yeah. See.
How about you?
So, same question. How can I develop a creative environment organically within my presentations? So, what I have done in the past was, in my listing presentations, I tried to get a visual from the clients of the room that they like the best in their house, where they currently live. And I asked them to tell me what they liked about it. And then I turn the question around and ask them, which room do they like the least? And then in that answer, I use that answer to help propel them forward to what the next house is going to look like. I had one client who never went in her basement. She didn't know what her basement looked like. I went down there, literally, it was a wall of cobwebs in the basement. I took pictures for her. You know, she was like, I'd never been down there, so I never knew what was down there. I said, maybe the next house can have a finished basement, so you can go in the basement. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be such a dark, gloomy, scary place. And she was like, you know, I never thought about a finished basement. So now I'm giving her a vision. I'm helping her create in her own mind a vision of possibilities of what the next house could look like. Because now she's thinking about all the things that she would like to have had in the current house for the next house. So I do that in many of my presentations, especially with my move-up buyers, people that move-up sellers that are looking to sell to go to another home. I have a sit-down consultation with them where I try to pull that out of them, extract it out of them, to get an idea of what the next house is supposed to look like. So I admit I play with that, you know, on purpose to help me help them, you know? It sounds.
This is about you. This is about you. It ain't about me.
It sounds diabolical. I know.
Yeah.
You're looking at me like
diabolical. This for you.
So here's a good question. How can we create within traditional incentives? This is about agents now again. Incentives, intrinsic motivation in agents to show our listings. Did I ask that question? I didn't ask that question.
I think we did. You did.
Kinda.
Because it's like, it sounds like, and I'm not just saying this you, that there's a listing that you had that's not getting any showings. But it's not just about the agent. What if the house is overpriced? What if, like, all of you saying, like, I have a house like that too. Like, that it is not necessarily getting any showings. How can I make agents show my house? I mean, it's a great question. How can I, like, what else can I do? I can't go below a certain number.
Right.
Yeah, we can do more photos. You can't move the house.
I know. What else? And that was my question. For us in this conversation to brainstorm, like, think from an agent's perspective. Because
the numbers but it's for their buyers. It's not the agent buying the house. It's for their clients that's buying the house. So
okay.
Maybe like the numbers. Maybe the agent can say, "Oh, this is a developing area," but they could say that. That don't mean that it's true or not true. You know, like you're just saying stuff to make people do something. Like, I don't know.
I try to push all the buttons that I know that would excite me as an agent.
So you giving incentives or like, you know, like, oh,
I'm dropping all the bombs. Motivation, commission.
If I get an offer by a certain amount of time.
Offer by this date. I thought about playing with the commission scales. Like
giving them more and
or giving them a buyer bonus, a buyer agent bonus. But, so it's separate from the commission.
Yeah.
It's a buyer agent bonus.
Yeah, but that doesn't, even if we do that, it doesn't guarantee that, like, a buyer is definitely going to come and do this because now I gave you a bonus.
No, it doesn't. What it does do is it incentivizes the agent to go find a qualified buyer. I look at the developers and the incentives that they offer us as agents to sell their listings. Look at the art house. Look at there was one developer that offered a buyer $5,000 to a buyer agent that bought qualified buyers. There was another one that offered...
but we go to those things, that we go to the art house, and I love the conversation. We go to the art house, and they offering these $5,000 bonuses, and you're saying that it's going to incentivize the agents, us, that go to these events. Have we brought them that buyer? am I not incentivized to get that commission plus 5? Like, how do I find the buyer? I gotta do something within myself, because if I was able to find all these buyers, I would have hundreds of thousands of buyers if it was that not like easy for me to just find buyers.
So now I go back to Atomic Habits, and I look at from the settlement table, and how did I get to the settlement table? And now I think about what type of buyer do I need? What kind of credit score? What kind of money? What kind of industry they might come from? What kind of work experience? What kind of intelligence level? And now I go, how do I speak to that buyer? What does my marketing look like to generate that conversation? What vehicle am I using to communicate? Am I talking to them on Instagram, or am I talking to them on LinkedIn? I try to really profile who it is that's going to be that buyer. The agent that just sold a $3.5 million condo and double-sided it. And I go, how does she get a $3.5 million listing? And how does she get a $3.5 million buyer together at the settlement table at the same time? And I work everything backwards.
So then, even if you worked and you did all of that stuff, like, not where's your proof, but where's the proof that? And I'm not just saying for you, it's for me too. Like, you know how to move in a room full of vultures. You know how to do the LinkedIn and all this stuff, and you read all these books, and it's like, where's the proof of me getting a $3 million buyer? Where's the proof of I went to the art house, I'm looking to find a buyer, I'm putting myself in rooms, I'm networking, I'm being a reflection of the buyer, I'm on TikTok, I'm on whatever platform, where, like, at some point it gotta be like.
So the proof for me is in my numbers. I look at my average price point every week, and I see how it's improved or didn't improve. What did I do or not do to get my average price point up?
Yeah, so
and I use that as a scale to guide who I'm talking to, what kind of listings I'm generating, the areas I'm generating those listings in, my areas of interest and focus. That is a part. It's the Atomic Habits effect. What little changes can I make within my business to affect massive changes? So I start with the small things. Who I'm talking to, what I'm talking about, where I'm marketing, where I'm doing my marketing, where I physically am, what events I'm going to, what functions am I, where am I being present, in order to attract, what laws of attraction am I using to attract those types of buyers and sellers?
So that's good. One conversation is like, you look at your numbers, and we're looking for the $3 million increase. Like, and yeah, I see increase, but is my increase like 100,000? We're in a conversation like 3 million. And I'm not like in this, the conversation like, oh, it's not enough, like, comes up, but that's not true. We do see improvement. In the book says celebrate small wins, and we're inside the conversation of operating system. Is it invisible protocol, or something that's happening inside of the background? The game to me is like how to do something completely new, better, different. Yeah, like we can see that there's like 50,000, 100,000. I went from 250 to 400,000. We're talking millions. That would be an extraordinary, not just difference, because that is who you are, as an aspect of the Brian Show that we may be showing or we may not be showing. I'm talking big.
Go back to be like water.
Fluid, flow.
Formlessness,
yeah.
Shapelessness.
When we know that,
and
I think
move into those defined box structures and become that.
Yeah.
To attract. Go back to the law of attraction.
It was 48 laws of power. The 48 law was be formlessness. Don't be so one one dimensional. Right. And I think that's like what we want to see, like the miraculous, like that type of deal. You're gonna do the deal, you're gonna get the deal, you're gonna close the deal, and then you're gonna like tank a little bit. You're gonna be excited after the money hits your account, and then you're gonna go back to being like, well, that was fun. It's the creation of it. Like, we're reading this, we want to see something, like, not that we're not, like, remove the scales over my eyes, like, because there's no lack, like, she got 3 million, double popped it, like, easy, like, not easy, but easy. You got to have the listing to be able to attract the.
So now I go back to thinking about my business and what I am not doing.
Yeah.
I don't do open houses. I haven't done open house in years.
Okay.
I don't do floor. I haven't done floor in years. Like, I think I did it once a year ago.
People do get stuff off floor. We're not negating that also. I'm
in the office, but I'm not of the office. That's my fault. What can I change to be more interactive with an office that I can obviously do $3 million in business? It's me. You always have to go back to what it is that what I'm not doing.
For sure, we can look at our strengths, but you really need to look at our weaknesses.
Yes, and then adorn those and say, okay, what was that other book that we read? I'm still on good to great.
Mm-hmm.
The key thing I got out of that was discipline. Creating a culture of discipline. And how can I discipline my habits for a greater outcome? The things that I just defined for you that I don't do within my own business are the things that I need to do.
I think that it's less physical and more mental.
Okay.
Like, you can go to the open house. That don't mean that you're gonna attract a buyer. You can sit floor, but that doesn't mean like automatically you're gonna get that.
It doesn't mean that you're automatically gonna get that. What I see it does is it puts you in the sphere of opportunity. Who comes to $1 million open houses?
Neighbors, not always $1 million buyers.
Not always $1 million buyers. Neighbors, true. But the neighbors know $1 million buyers because they're looking at who's going to be their neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Focus with a stern discipline. Being prepared for those conversations. It all comes back to me. How do I interact with the neighbors? Because the neighbor might be my next $1 million listing. But if I'm not in the mindset of let's prepare to have conversations with the neighbors, I might not. I've closed myself off from an opportunity for business. It all comes back to me and my preparedness for the situation. How do I prepare for that open house? Like, really, how do I prepare for it?
I like that. We're in an anticipation business. We're supposed to be anticipating, and it's like, and the conversation, not enough. Am I not anticipating that enough? Like, are we not like focused on it enough and seeing?
Are we not open enough to it?
Right,
as opportunities.
Right, and like believing that, this is an opportunity that is so achievable for me, that it's so easy for me to get that as whatever thing. So yeah, totally me, and I think that our clients are a reflection of us. Like, how did I attract this sales price? Like, I'm happy, I'm grateful, but like,
but we're not down here for nothing. We could have been at Bob's Discount Real Estate office.
Yeah,
doing the same thing.
Yeah, you didn't, like, I'm not the author of my life. Like, I didn't create me. I didn't create my marketing skills. It's not like people got all these skills. I didn't create that. I molded it. But I'm not the author of us being here in Independence Hall. Mm-hmm. So I not just humble myself to that, but then it's also in a conversation like, am I open to something
Yes.
greater, and then
Yes.
if I'm not, it's my own operating system.
It's my own operating system. I keep coming back to that.
I think that was his strongest chapter.
Yeah.
Or I just understood it enough. I got the whitewashing, make it like the whitewashing with the Tom Sawyer, make it interesting for other people. But I really got that there's mechanisms that allow me to feel a certain way, to open myself up to certain neighborhoods and not open up myself to like whatever. It's my own operating system, and then to dismantle that. And I'll go back to what you said about you know, like remove yourself from your parents' influence. What they think is a lot is not what I think is a lot. You know, what scares them doesn't scare me because they come from a certain mindset. This Daniel H. Pink wrote A Whole New Mind. That's kind of what we're up to. 48 Laws of Power. Number 48 was formlessness. Like your mind can be so, you know, walled up. Like it's okay. Yeah. It's self-imposed, but you know, our limitations are also self-imposed.
They are. So now here we go. It's 8:56. It's 8:58. Contrast this book to another book that we've read. Not compare.
Right. Contrast. You go first.
Who Moved My Cheese?
I think that's compare. It's the same thing.
I thought that at first, but Who Moved My Cheese was so limiting because it defined the goal and it even created the path of how to get to the goal. Whereas Drive would have put me in the mindset of climb on top of the box and then look around and then go directly to the cheese versus being in the maze. It allowed me to open my mind up.
Elevate.
To multiple possibilities of how to find the cheese. Who Moved My Cheese said, follow these paths, lace up your sneakers, keep your sneakers around your neck, lace up your sneakers, follow the path to the new cheese, and always be looking for new cheese. Drive said to me, think outside the box. That whole concept about the match and the candle and the table and how to keep the wax from dripping on the table, said think outside the box.